Hello. Happy Friday. Welcome to Adobe Live. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2024. How is everyone? I know we're only 5 days into the new year, but how's your year going so far? Hopefully good. Mine so far is good. I celebrated my 36th, God, I can't talk, birthday yesterday. So I am now 36 years old. I thought today would be really fun if we created a playlist. I love to create like custom covers for my playlist, and I realize people probably don't know who I am. If you don't know who I am, hi, I'm Shauna Lynn. I'm a lettering artist, children's book illustrator, and general illustrator located in the Chicago area. I've been working professionally in the field since 2010, and I'm coming up on 11 years of freelancing in less than a month. So one thing that I've really enjoyed doing, I make playlists like crazy. I figure skate, so I love having curated playlists and songs to listen to while I'm skating that I can either pop on the system or on my headphones. So when I do create playlists, I love to create custom covers for them. I think it's really fun, and it gives it a little bit of personality, lets you put your own little personal touch on it. So I have like this whole series of playlists that I've made called Studio Vibes, and it's all these different like feels and emotions that I really enjoy listening to, and it just sort of depends on the day what I'm going to listen to. So I wanted to quickly show you guys a couple that I've done already. And these I've done, I was looking it up today. I think I started doing this in 2017. I think 2017, I started making custom covers for my playlists. So I've got all kinds of like different feelings. So I've got like a Chicago one, folk edition, jazz. I've got a couple holiday ones, and I haven't made one in a while. So I thought it would be really fun. I've made a playlist for this event, and Cody is going to drop it in chat at some point for you guys so you can listen to it as well. It's just kind of a fun, like, we're going to, pump up the year and get excited. Like, this is our year. And have a good time with this. So we've got about a little less than an hour. I'm going to see if I can get this going, and I'm going to see if I can get some lettering done for this, because we're going to do lettering on top of a photo, because that for me is the easiest option. So I'm going to pop over into Photoshop. I see we've got quite a few people here, which is awesome. We've got Oliver, Gareth, Jack, Jan. Hello everyone. How are you? Thank you, Cody. Cody says, I need to make covers for my playlist. It's so fun and personal. It really does. It really does. If you ever go on like Spotify and you search other people's playlists, you'll see like some people will make custom art for theirs as well, or they'll just like pop a photo in there, because the default is they'll show for CD covers. So, and that's it's not really fun. So for the one that I did, I had a list. I was trying to think of a good name for it, and what I settled on was This Will Be My Year, or This Is My Year, because I thought that was very positive. That was very motivational, manifesting like this is going to be my year. But some of the ones that I came up with in the process were Bring It On. Let's see. We had Bring It On, Time for a New Start, Hopeful Thoughts, Cautiously Optimistic. So I was like, those are probably not as positive as I needed them to be. So we're going to do This Is My Year. And like I said, we're going to do starting with photos. So I've already gone and picked some options from Adobe stock in terms of what we could use. And a few of these, depending which one we go with, and I'm going to let you guys kind of help me pick. So throw in chat if you see one you really like. I'm going to probably have to use a little bit of generative fill to just kind of extend it a little bit, because some of them, you want to have enough white space to fit your lettering, or have it to where like you can really work the lettering into your composition. So some of the options, like this was one where it was like, this is very, very New Year's. And I don't know that I want to go necessarily with this one, because it just feels like kind of, this would be on like a playlist for New Year's Eve rather than a positive, let's attack the year playlist. I do like this one. It's kind of, it's got that kind of hopeful vibe. I think it could work really well. So this is on option. We've got friends celebrating. Again, a little more on the New Year's spectrum, but we'll see. We've got another one of people celebrating. Got some fireworks. You can tell exactly what I was searching in Adobe stock based on like what I was pulling for a while. I also had a few that were kind of like New York-y. This one would work in general just because of the background being blurred out, essentially, like the focus is off. This one I like, but I like it for the colors. I don't think it's going to work for this. And then we have this, which I think would be this would make a really good cover, but not for this one. This would be a good one if you had like a New York themed playlist where you had like various like jazz, rap, etc. This one in theory could work. I would have to have some, extend it. It's one of those really long images. So like there's options that it could potentially work. So we're going to keep it as an option. Then we have this like Sistine Chapel, God reaching out type hands. And then we have this, which I thought would be kind of cute if I did one that was like the subway sessions or something, but it's not going to work for this. I just thought it was a cool image. So we've got people talking about their playlists. Jan says, I'm a huge fan of album covers. Yes, my little sister and her boyfriend got me this book by Taschen. I think that's how you spell it or you say it. It's a book publisher that does all these like different art books. And they got me one where it was like record album covers throughout the last like 50 years, which was really cool. I do love album covers. Those are always fun. And then Alessandra says, oh, they must have used the Vaseline technique on that image. Are you, the focused one, the out of focus one? What's the Vaseline technique? Because I don't think I've ever heard of that. Granted, I'm not a photographer, so that's probably why. People are saying, yay, NYC. Okay, so as much as I like this one too, because I really like the colors, I'm thinking this is going to be I think this is the winner, to be honest. What I would need to do is, rather than pulling her off the screen, I kind of want to make her just a little smaller. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right click and the great thing about Adobe Stock is if you have it in your Photoshop file, like if you put it in your library and drag it in, you can actually license it right from Photoshop itself. So you have this option, if you right click on your layer, you have an option to license the image. So I'm going to license this. I'm going to get a little pop up here. Do you want to license this? Yes, I do. All right, so now we have a high-res version of this image. And just so everyone knows, I have my file already up because I have client stuff on the recent screen that I can't show. So I have to have this up ahead of time already, but my file is set up 8 inches by 8 inches. I work in RGB. If I have to switch to CMYK, I do the bad thing and I work in RGB and then I change it later. And I have it at 400 DPI because I like having a slightly higher resolution so that I can get really detailed with my work and not worry about the like pixelation and such. So, and I think so because we want to do maybe a little bit of like trial and error until I kind of figure out which direction I want to put this in. So we're going to go, I'm going to flip this around because I think her looking that way, if we're going to get like really, like art school kid on this, the only downside is these are backwards. Okay, it's not going to work. I was hoping that I didn't even consider that the lettering here would be backwards. So because I thought this would be good because then she's like looking towards the future, not to the past. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So I'm going to go to window. I'm going to go to my contextual taskbar. So I'm going to pull this up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my rectangle marquee. And I'm going to select these two areas that I want to fill. And I'm going to do generative fill. So I'm going to hit generative fill. I'm not going to type a prompt. I want it to pull from the content that's already in the image. So I'm just going to hit generate, and we're going to see what it comes up with. In the meantime, how's everyone doing? What are your plans? Did you have a good New Year's? Choose a variation. So we got to choose a variation. Continue. Get ready to take. Oh, I've got my. I don't want to go to the videos right now. There we go. Okay. All right, so we've got some options. This is actually interesting because it actually pulled in letters really well. I'm kind of surprised. Granted, it doesn't actually say anything, but another option too, if I have time, I may edit out some of those just so that we don't have that, we don't have all the extra around there, and so it doesn't fight with my lettering. I'm going to group those two and pull them up here. And then I'm going to turn off my image options. So I think I'm going to go with this one for now. And then we'll see what happens later. We're just going to kind of, make decisions as we go. Alessandra says, I just got back from vacation to go to work on Wednesday, but didn't do much. Just relaxed, did some art, ate, and slept. You know what? That's a good way to do it. I went into the holiday season with every intention of sketching and creating art for my portfolio so that I could update stuff. And hang on, I gotta write this because if I start talking while I'm writing, I will sometimes write what I'm talking. So we're gonna do. This is my. This is my year. We at least have this just kind of sitting for now, so I have it. Yeah, I had every intention of getting, work done and adding to my portfolio, and I definitely did not. I realized I think that I was suffering from some massive burnout, and I ended up building an app instead because I can't just sit and do nothing. This is let's see if I can kind of I want to see what I can do with generative fill here, just to see, because I'm curious. Because if we can cover that a bit, it might help. Hello, Barbara. How are you? Welcome to the stream. If anyone's just now joining, I'm Shauna Lynn. That actually worked. Sorry. I'm a lettering artist and children's book illustrator in the Chicago area. And today we are creating a playlist cover for a Spotify playlist I put together for the new year. That one doesn't work. That one kind of works, but this surprisingly worked. I'm going to do it one more generate round. I just want to see what else it can come up with, but it worked. I'm surprised. And I didn't have to tell it a thing. I can see what it was going for here. I don't really like it as much. That's kind of nice. What do I like better? I almost like this better because it doesn't fight for legibility as much. So I think this is what we're going to go with. Now, okay, so now I'm in that like, well, what if it gives us something just a little better? We're gonna do one more round, we'll see. And then from there I have to pick. I'm not allowed to do any more. I get 3 shots, that's it. Ours is, yay, Chicago, my home for half my life. Aw, hello, fellow Chicagoan. It actually is giving me some really good alternatives here. Okay. Oh no, which one do I like better? I feel like the optometrist, like A or B. A or B. Let's do this green one. It feels really optimistic. It feels happy. It feels good. Let's stick with that. I've said it. I have put it in motion. This is what we're doing. So I'm going to hide the taskbar for now. And then I'm going to go in and I'm just going to start like doing a little bit more with this lettering and the layout. So if I did more like this is and then what I'll end up doing is I will end up faking it so it goes behind her. Versus enjoying the colors on this one. Yeah, I think this one is our winner. I like that much better. So one thing I do with my lettering is I like to do multiple iterations of the lockups just to see like what will work. Also, if you paint in Photoshop and stuff and you want to use your brush as an eraser, you're going to hit the tilde key up in the top corner. And this does not work for anyone who has a European keyboard. I'm sorry. But you're going to tap it. You're just going to hold it and it will switch your brush to clear mode and you can use it as an eraser. And that's awesome. All right, so we're going to do going to be, a lot of, adjusting and just sort of making things fit and playing with them as we go. So what it may need is I might have to pull her down just a bit more. I think that's what I'm going to do. We're going to make her a little bit smaller so we can make the playlist a little bit more of the focus. We're going to do another round of generative fill here. See what it comes up with, and we're going to hope that it keeps going on this record of it working. Yeah, that worked. So I'm going to do, for the sake of we're going to group all that. I'm going to copy it and then I'm going to merge all these layers. Because one thing I want to do is I want to select the subject and I want to see if it'll select her so that I can copy and paste her. If it does, then I can use that as part of a way to knock out the type without having to go in and be really accurate with an eraser. taking a little bit because it's studying the image. All right, it's not a terrible, yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, and then I'm gonna go down to my adjustment layers and I'm gonna do color balance. And I'm just gonna pull this green down just ever so slightly because I think it's just it's a little too green for my liking. So before and then after. So that gives us, I just accidentally deleted oh no, I just covered it. There we go. So I think that's gonna work. I think that'll work nicely. And then if I need to near the end, I can mask out these two green strips. So now I'm gonna close my taskbar. And then we're gonna try it again with the lettering. Working with a bunch of Ys actually is kind of difficult. So let's work with this. And we're gonna keep playing with it. So my process is I literally just start drawing over and over and over and change things as I go and puzzle them together to make them fit. I keep trying to do like filigree with the Y, and I'm not sure it's necessarily gonna work. So is anyone working alongside and making their own playlist cover? Because if you do, I would love to see it. You tag me on like Twitter or somewhere. I would love to see it. I'm gonna run with this because I kind of like this and I can do a little bit more adjusting as I go. But I think this is a good place to start. So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna create a folder, drag my layer in there. I'm gonna label it lettering because I am awful about labeling my layers, about naming my layers. And it always kicks me in the butt later. Like, for example, when I was sending stuff off to my client, I was sending off a whole picture book. And then I had to go through and figure out and decide like what layers I was going to name. I ended up asking a few friends and just said like, when you send your stuff to your editor, like what exactly do you label? Like, do you go and label every single layer? Because there's somewhere, you know, if I'm drawing a character, like I'll draw the eyes like on a separate layer from like everything else. And so it's like, do I have to have this layer that I just label eyes, or can I like put them all in a group, you know, and label it, you know, the girl or whatever. And then so that's what they said they do is they house all their layers for each specific thing in a folder, and then they just name the folder. That does tend to make things a little bit easier. I've been working on edits for one client, and I'm kind of kicking myself because it's a lot of like layer this, layer that, layer number, but whatever. And I'm like, it's like, and then it's like multiple stacks. So it's like trying to find the one in that stack. I'm not my proudest moment. So, in terms of New Year's, though, did anyone make any New Year's resolutions, like creative ones? Mine this year was my resolution is just more intentional sketching. I got very far away from that last year. I used to every day take at least 20 minutes to just sit and draw for the sake of drawing. And I got very far away from that. And I think I really struggled last year to create for myself. I think I was in like a massive bit of burnout to some degree, but also like trying to further push my style and see, kind of figure out what my voice looked like for kids' books. And so while I did make some, forward movement there, I really don't have a lot of personal work to show for it. I have a ton of unfinished files. But I don't necessarily have a ton of actual finished work that I'm able to show for it. And that's not a bad thing, because I did at least actively try to make efforts to improve, and not everything needs to be made to be consumed. So I think part of my issue last year too was in my head, my brain was like, if it's not going to be put on social media, that's not going to be, it's not, if it's not made, how do I say it? I was sketching with the intention of it going onto social media versus sketching with the intention of creating something that I was proud of. I think that's the best way to put it. And it's not healthy to do that. And I definitely paid for it. So I'm in a better space now, especially because, like I said, over the Christmas holiday, I took off I think I didn't sketch for 2 weeks straight, which is not normal. I'm normally drawing as much as I can and trying to at least, actively draw. But I went 2 weeks without drawing, and that really helped that reset. And I was able to do that because I didn't have client work at that moment. So that was a very fortunate position I found myself in that regard. And it's just because like all of my, if anything that I had in progress, my clients were on vacation too. So there wasn't really anything I had to work on at that point. So it gave me time to sort of do a reset, but I'm also the worst when it comes to sitting and doing nothing. So like I said earlier, I built an iPhone app. Sat and I decided I was going to learn how to code and go from there. That was actually kind of a good reset. But then I also saw 2 a.m. way more than I anticipated, because I would get on a roll and then next thing I knew, I'm like, oh, I should probably go to bed. All right, so we have a few of the New Year's resolutions. Alessandra, to transfer my traditional comic book to digital. Ooh, that's awesome. I'm assuming you've like already drawn it traditionally at this point. So is it a matter of scanning, or are you going to like redraw it using Photoshop or Fresco? Alessandra also says, and continue to do more art therapy workshops to those less fortunate or low income. Oh, that's so nice. That's beautiful. What a wonderful way to share your love of art and share your passion. Gareth, to do more intentional procrastinating. Okay. I procrastinate as it is. I don't need to do more. I don't need to be intentional because mine's always unintentional. I just get on I end up on a lot of Google search wormholes. Then you said you have drawn and you need to scan it into the computer. Very Nice. That's awesome, actually. Very cool. I'm amazed how long this too has actually taken me. I need to make sure that I have enough time to finish my lettering. The downside with having not drawn in like 2 weeks is I actually am a little rusty right now. I've been doing a little bit of client work and I did one piece the other night on Wednesday. Because there's a thing called Kidlit Art Postcard, and it's basically just a way for children's book illustrators to promote themselves. Like it used to be you'd send postcards to like the offices of art directors and such. And now people really aren't in the office, so we can't do that as easily. So they do it on like Instagram, they do it on Twitter, on Threads, etc. And so it's a way for art directors to like find new portfolios or like find various talent that they might have been searching for, and kind of get people, it's get yourself like on the radar of art directors and publishers. And so it's been a while since I've done one because I always have the intention to do it, and then it comes around and I'm like, oh, I missed it again. But it's the first Thursday of every month, and it just so happened that the first Kidlit Art Postcard of 2024 fell on my birthday yesterday. So I thought I should probably take advantage of this and actually do a piece. So I drew myself and Teddy, my dog, and it's basically just a little birthday party. It's him and I and a cake. I was like, that'll be appropriate. And now I have a drawing of a party in my portfolio. Hello, Peter. Welcome to this stream. If you're just joining in, I'm Shauna Lynn. I'm a lettering artist and illustrator and children's book illustrator located in the Chicago area. I am creating a Spotify playlist cover for a Spotify playlist I put together for the new year. I created a very positive playlist to motivate myself, and I called it This Is My Year. And so I'm creating cover art for it, because I've done that for multiple other playlists I have on my account. And I love doing it. It's really fun because it gives some personality to your playlist. And it started just because I wanted something that was, I don't remember what the first one I did was. I think I actually started because I was just drawing random lettering one year. And I drew one that said lo-fi high vibes. And I ended up just like uploading it to a playlist, and I changed the playlist name to Lo-Fi High Vibes. And after I was like, I could make other playlist covers for my account here. That would be fun. And so over the last few years, I made a playlist series for myself called Studio Vibes, and it's just like various different playlists based on like whatever mood I'm feeling. So I've got one for like jazz. I've got another for folk. I've got one for like spring and summer. I've got Christmas ones. I've got autumn, spring. Like I think I've got a Gregorian chant one. And so those, I started making playlists for those. So see if I still have, I still have it up. So I have like all these playlists I did, and they're hosted on my site still, but I used to have a link to them. I haven't had it up lately, but if you want to go to shaunalynn.com/playlists, you will get that. You can get access to those. You just click the image and it'll take you to the playlist. I've got some very eclectic music tastes, but these are the ones that I've done so far. And then I really haven't done more. So this will be fun to add into my be fun to add into my little bank of music. And if anyone's interested in doing any kind of lettering work, the trick I have right now, I do a lot of like this works for me just because this is how I've always drawn them. But a trick to find like your style is you just like write out your letter. So like I have the word is written out. What you do is you do a contour line lettering, and so you would draw around the letter without picking up your pen. And so what that'll allow you to do is kind of find what your style will look like based on like your own handwriting and how you can take it a little further and play with it. So yeah, lettering tip of the day. It took me several years to get to a point where I actually found my style and sank kind of into something that was really comfortable for me. And that was what I found worked the best, was just doing contour line lettering and things to just push myself and figure out what it looked like. And so now when I start sketching my lockups, I draw my letters I write my letters how I would draw them. So they're already kind of set. But before that, I did a lot of skeleton work with them, and I would just draw them over and over and over again until I figured out how I wanted it to look. Jan says, my playlists are code named. Like, you mean like you've got example, please? There was one day when I was at the ice rink, I had music playing, my coach and I had it up, and it was just like really nice, soft instrumental, like piano music. It may have been like instrumental Christmas music, but it was like us and two other people on the ice. And this person came up to us at the end of the session. He's like, whose music was that? And I was like, it's mine. And he goes, I would rather listen to Toilets Flush. I'm like, okay, sir, you could have just asked us on the ice, like, could you put something more peppy on? But so what I did after that is I went home and I made a playlist called Passive Aggressive Sounds of the Season. And it was he goes, it sounds like, what was it? He goes, it sounds like funeral music. I would rather listen to the sounds of toilets flushing. So I did a playlist where all the songs pertain to like funerals and death and like very passive aggressive, but it was a way for me to get it out of the system. Peter, are you working on a Cintiq? Yes, I am. Yep, I have a Wacom Cintiq, the 24-inch one. And I got it with the touch enabled. I don't ever use the touch. I always have it turned off because my thinking was like, I thought it would be more like the iPad where it's really intuitive. And it doesn't have good palm rejection. So like I'd be drawing and I'd move my hand and it would like rotate my canvas 3 times. And I'm like, this is just it's not working. I have my hand on my keyboard anyways, so there's no reason to use the touch. So like if you do ever look into a Cintiq, keep that in mind. It sounds like a great feature. I never use it. Oh, Sandra. Oh, he was just jealous he didn't have what you had. Yeah, I think he was just upset he didn't have my awesome music playlist and my awesome taste in music. Yeah, I make different ones just kind of based on like for skating, I'll make ones where it's like if I know that I'm going to be practicing field moves, I will do one for specific field moves. One of my friends messaged me and she's like, hey, I'm working on, they're called rockers and counters, and it's just a type of turn that I don't remember exactly. I can never tell the two apart, but they basically, your tracing makes this on the ice. And the other one makes, I think, that on the ice. So it's like one of them goes in, one goes out. And, but there's a certain rhythm to them that you have to get down. And so she was like, "You're really good with music. Can you make me a playlist for Rockers Encounters that has like beats that I can hear?" And I was like, "Say less." So like I have playlists based on that. I've got ones that are just like um ones that I just like I need to get out of my head. So I've got ones that are just straight instrumental, just so I've got noise. And then I've got ones that are like really peppy and things that I'll put on like the speaker and then I've got like, my studio vibes ones based on different stuff that I was going for. So what I realized what I'm doing is I'd separated her out so she's on her own layer. And I need to pull that above my lettering so that when I come down in here, it goes behind her. Isn't that awesome? If anyone can, there we go. So that way it goes behind her and I can, however I decide to do this, to do these, like, if I do, go through there or whatever, I can have it go behind her without having to go in and like edit it myself. Versus someone needs to explain that guy. If you don't have anything nice to say, you don't have to say it. I call that the thumper rule. Like in Bambi, he goes, if you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all. Or you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all, is what I think how he says it. And so I'm always just like, that's the thumper rule. Like if you can't say something nice, don't say it. There's no reason to. I actually think I might get this done. I have struggled the last several times. I have done streams to finish my lettering and illustrations like in time. But this, we may just have a couple minutes that I can mess around with some stuff because I had an idea. This is nice. Someday I will switch to the Cintiq. I got one when they first came out with the 13-inch. Um, I got one then because it was more, quote unquote affordable. It was still very expensive, but comparatively to the larger ones that were multiple thousands of dollars, it was way more affordable. Prior to that, I worked with an Intuos, but the only thing really that the Cintiq allowed was that my work got a little more, it got a little more accurate. So before, where I was drawing down here and looking straight at my screen, which honestly was probably better for my neck and back, I had to like redraw certain lines like multiple times because it would sometimes like there was a disconnect between my hand and my head. Um, so it allowed me to kind of get a little faster at the work I was doing, which allowed me more time to, experiment and have some fun with things. The wrong button. If you hit tab, it hides all of your menus. I wanted to hit the tilde so that I could erase this. chances. That effect is cool. Yeah, I'm happy it turned out. Anyone who's joining in, what we did was we started with a stock photo from Adobe, and it was this girl, and she was the main focus. So we shrunk it down. We used generative fill to fill in the areas, and then we actually shrunk it down again so that I had more lettering room and added more. So I ended up with this, and then what I did was I used select subjects so I could remove her from the composition. So she's still technically there, but I have an overlay of her so that I can draw behind her as I'm going. And when I was initially looking for stock images, I was kind of just looking randomly for different things. Because I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to call the playlist. Like I knew the feeling I wanted to go for, but I didn't necessarily know like how to, how to call it out. But the new select subject, that it's really fantastic because trying to select out hair is very difficult. I used to work in a fashion company that I had to do, I did photo editing for them for various things. It was mostly like the magazine and store things that I would do edits for. And then my coworkers did like the big photo editing for like the big banners in the window. But I would have to still do like change the color of shirts, change background elements, like Photoshop stuff out, add stuff in. And so I got to a point where like what I would end up doing was when I would edit out hair, I would just edit along the hairline, like along the hair edges. And then I'd go and I would draw hair back in at the end with like a 1 to 2 pixel brush on, like just the standard round brush on like maybe 75% hardness. And it would allow just enough to look, it would make it look just enough like hair. But it was tedious and time consuming. And so like this now, being able to see it like just cut it out of the background so easily, I'm amazed. Because that would have been so helpful back in 2011. All right, we're coming down to the last like a few minutes. Can I do this? We're going for it. We're going to go as quickly as I can without being too precious about my strokes here. If anyone has any questions, now's the time to ask. And if you want to enjoy the playlist, Cody's dropped it in the chat. She's dropped the link a few times in the chat. But once we're done with the stream, what I'll do is I'll pop into Spotify because I have it closed on my computer right now. But I will pop in there and I will add the playlist cover in, and so you'll get to see it in action. Just as I love your playlist. I listen to those songs too. Yay! I thought it was fun. It gave a little, it's like, it's optimistic and encouraging. Yeah, it says I have the Wacom One pen display. It's handy to work outside in the summer as you can run it off a power bank. Oh, that's nice. Is it like it's not like a computer though, right? It's like a portable screen that you hook to your computer, or does it actually have like computer capabilities in it? Back way back when I had the Cintiq Companion. I got that at one point, and that thing was heavy. That thing was so heavy, and I ended up going to Icon Conference, which is an illustration conference that happens every other year, and it changes locations every time. And I brought it out there, and it decided that it was going to stop working on that trip, so I could no longer charge it, and I couldn't use it at all. Then I sent it off to get fixed by Wacom, and they were like, I think it was already out of warranty by that point. So it ultimately ended up having to get rid of it. Eventually I got a Surface Pro, which I had the 4 at the time, and it was good, but I had to get like 3 different replacements for it because it kept getting overheated. And I think they've since improved that. And then after that, I switched to an iPad, and that thing I have had now for, I think, 4 years, and it's still going strong. And it's only now just starting to kind of show its age in regards to like how well it functions. Like it doesn't play very nice with the screen share from like Mirror My Screen, basically the AirPlay, that thing. It doesn't play very well with that anymore because it's older. It's a little too old. Peter, thank you for joining. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream, and I hope to see you again. All right, so we've got 2024. And then what I'm going to do, I want to see if this will work, because this may not work, but it potentially could. I'm going to duplicate my group, and I'm going to bring it underneath the original. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it down and take the opacity down a bit. This is a quick trick for doing 3D letters. And so in this case, I'm going to bring it back up to 100, and then I'm going to try a couple different blend modes. Because it's white, it may not work as well, but that actually kind of works. We do overlay, or the soft light doesn't really have the same effect. Let's see what we can get real quick. That's kind of fun. I think let's do overlay, and then what I'll do is I'll take it down to like 50%. But that way we don't lose we don't lose the vibrancy behind it. Let's do 75. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another layer just so I can connect these. This I may not end up finishing. We'll see. But all you have to do is connect point A to point B. And you have a 3D letter. And then if you want to go further, you can you can go like it through here and like actually connect here and shade and like add more dimension to it. I'm not going to do that this round because I want to be able to get this done. But this is a fun trick to just kind of quickly get a 3D letter shape rather than trying to outline it and draw it yourself, which is what I used to do. Which I think I did because I drew with pen and pencil and paper and stuff. So like you literally could not just copy paste like this. How are we doing on time? I gotta sign off in just a couple moments. But I am really glad everyone joined today. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too. We will have more content starting next week. and I hope everyone's ready for this new year. I don't know. I don't know about you guys. I just feel good about this year. Something just feels different this year than it has in the last few. And if you end up finding you have any questions like after the stream, feel free to reach out to me on social media. I'm at Shauna Parmesan on pretty much all platforms. If it's not under Shauna Parmesan, it'll be under Shauna Lynn. Umacorn. Hi, Umacorn. How are you doing? Sandra. Oh, Oliver. Oh no, nearly over. Was enjoying just chilling and watching you draw. Aw, thanks. Yeah, it's almost over. I've gotta sign off in like less than a minute. So we're just gonna show where it's at now. I have a couple more letters to finish that I'll do in just a moment, but this is where we ended up. This will be the playlist cover that will go on the playlist that I shared out. So I really am so thankful that you guys joined in. I'm really glad we got to hang out today. This has been really fun. This is a great way to kick off the year. I'm excited for a very creative year, and I hope you all are too. And I appreciate every one of you taking the time out of your day to come hang out with me. So if you want to see more of my work, you can find me at shaunalynn.com and Shauna Parmesan on pretty much every platform. Otherwise, I will be here occasionally, and I will let you know when that happens. But thank you again for joining me. Happy 2024. I wish you all a wonderful year, and I wish you all a ton of creativity. So thank you again for joining, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Have some, get some rest and enjoy. Bye.